But we're gonna wrap this up with Jedi Survivor, one of my favorite Star Wars games. Or yeah, it is actually one of my favorite Star Wars games now. But I meant to say one of my favorite Star Wars things to come out this year. Um, so we're gonna start off with some general thoughts. I only have like two sentences, and then you can go on and talk about your general thoughts, and then we're gonna get a little bit more specific. But uh, this game was amazing, and it had me saying I love Star Wars like every other hour. It's a in a lot of ways for me, especially in terms of gameplay and map. Even though the map can still be confusing sometimes, and level design is a market improvement over the last game. It is very much, you know, as a sequel should be, in like way better than the first game. Um, what are your just general thoughts?
I'm trying to remember what I like and what I didn't like about it because I didn't play that much. That's not true. I beat it, but I haven't played it in a while. Um, it was cool. I kind of prefer the first one, if I'm being quite honest. Um, I don't know. I feel like I just had more fun with the first one than I did with this one.
Yeah, you played the first one a lot,
It was
a
cool.
lot more than I did. I'm the complete opposite of you. I played this one a lot, whereas I played the first one once. I think I might have started a second playthrough, and then stopped because New Game Plus doesn't work the way I would like New Game Plus to work in the first game. Um,
Oh no, I beat the first game like 4 or 5 times.
yeah, I didn't play the first game as much as you did, and this game is so much bigger that I didn't play the second time. At least not yet. Maybe I will at some point. But I did actively go through and try to do everything. Um,
I feel like part of the reason I had not as much fun with this one is because it's
bigger.
not an open. The worlds aren't open, but they are. They're not open worlds, but they are
They're wide.
open zone.
Yeah, open zone. That's what they call it. Like wide linear.
Yeah,
Like God of War.
and I don't like that because
I
in
like
a
it.
game like Jedi Survivor, where like you have to do so much just to progress a certain amount, then having an entire world where you do that is not fun for me.
I liked it. I like that a lot. Because an opinion I've always had of open world games is the problem has never been how many open world games we're getting. It's that they're always trying to get bigger. Open world games, they're big enough. Okay, we don't need bigger open worlds. We need more detailed open worlds. And I feel like the wide linear approach kind of bridges the gap between a linear game and an open game. And God of War does the same thing, especially Ragnarok. Ragnarok, amplifies that. It's another sequel that really improves on everything from the last game. And yeah, I enjoy that approach to like level design. I found it fun. And you also could just like you don't have to do that stuff. You can just like mainline the game. I think there are some segments where they there are a few segments where they make
No,
you
there are
like
parts that you definitely have to go back
yeah they tell you to
for
like
like
wait. Like you have to wait a
yeah.
while before you can go back and do a mission. So you're right. There are some segments where they force you to go like, yeah, go out and do stuff in open world, and then we'll get back to you with an answer to the main story thing. But otherwise you could just other than those segments, you could mainline it kind of. I assume you probably did mainline it.
No, actually, I did almost every side quest
Oh
just
really?
because I wanted
The
I
completionist.
wanted a lot of the stuff. So
Oh yeah, the customization. Oh yeah, we're gonna get that. Hold on, let's get to the gameplay. Um, for people who haven't played this or the first one, it's a very Soulsborne. It's inspired in terms of combat. They're like, what do they call the rest points in this game? The meditation points.
meditation points.
Yeah, where you save your progress, restore your health. It respawns all enemies. You can upgrade there. Um, and, in line with that, the combat can be difficult and it rewards patience and carefully watching your opponents and learning their patterns. Fuck that frog. Um, I played on the second hardest difficulty, Jedi Master. The reason I did that is because I don't know. I think it's because I don't know. I guess I just wanted a challenge. Because I remember playing the first one and it was challenging, but I wanted it to be even more challenging. Maybe it was
Why didn't
because
you just put it on Grandmaster?
well, I wanted it to be challenging. I didn't want to break my controller. Um,
I beat the entire thing on
of
Grandmaster. It
course you did.
was a definite challenge, but I feel like part of the reason I didn't have as much difficulty is because I beat the first game so many times.
Yeah.
Like I got through, I want to say the first 4 hours without dying just by playing on like because I've played the first one so much on the hardest difficulty. I was like, this is just the same game. I feel like when it started changing up the formulas where I started dying, where I had to like start learning new mechanics, I was
Yeah.
like, all right, but
Um,
such a fun game.
Yeah, Jedi Master. You're probably right. I probably should have bumped it up because Jedi Master didn't feel too difficult for me, except for some of the bosses. But in regular encounters, it wasn't like super hard. Um, Maybe it's because I put so much time in Elden Ring. I'm kind of just my skill level starting to increase. um,
Ravis was really annoying on Grandmaster, but that's the only that was the like thing that like really had me stumped for a
oh,
while was Ravis. It took me like 2 weeks to beat him.
I can imagine. Um, there are five different lightsaber stances in this game, opposed to three in the first one. You got the single, the double sided, and now they finally add dual wield. Before dual wield was like a single attack in the first game, right? And now it's like
Yeah,
it's
well, technically two attacks depending on what you were doing before you started attacking, but yeah.
yeah, now it's a full on stance, and I feel like you could make one of those charts with like the what is it like the like lawful evil chaos and all that stuff. What's that type of chart called?
Oh, alignment chart.
Yeah, alignment chart. I feel like you making a chart of that with the different like stances you choose, like two stances you choose to use. And I feel like the one that I chose was like chaotic evil. I used blaster and crossguard.
I
I
use blaster and single.
Yeah, I was chaotic evil as hell because crossguard has a bit of a learning curve because it's heavy. It does a lot of damage, but it's slow. And and then the crossguard for me was of course it was the complete opposite of that. It's quick and it has ranged attacks. Though the crossguard is a longer blade, which is cool. I just like the crossguard stance in general. I'm not usually one to use heavy weapons in games, but the crossguard just felt good to use for me in this game. It was my favorite stance. What was your favorite stance?
Definitely blaster.
Blaster was indeed fun. Um,
It was just so piratey. I loved it.
yeah, but yeah, going back to customization, just customization overall in this game was incredible. Lightsaber customization, of course, returns, but it's greatly expanded upon. And they also added the ability to customize BD and Cal himself, which was very surprising when they first showed it. And was it like shown in one of the trailers, or was it like some like behind the scenes type stuff? I can't remember. But whenever they first showed
I
that
think it was in one of the trailers.
when they first showed that he could be customized, I was like taken aback. I didn't expect that. When like in a game like a single player game, especially one like this that is canon to the Star Wars universe, you wouldn't expect the ability to like fully customize a character to be in a game like that. Like a lot of people wanted different choices in terms of outfits that weren't just ponchos. There are barely any ponchos in this game compared to the first one, which some people
There's
found.
only one Pancho,
Yes,
I think.
some people found that very disappointing. I personally was
I was
overjoyed.
very disappointed because
Of course you
where's my
were.
Pancho?
You got one, just one. Um,
Yeah, just one, and you had to beat like the second hardest boss in the second hardest optional boss in the game to get it. That was all that made me so mad.
what's the second hardest option boss for you?
It was that Ogo
Oh,
Bogo
that frog. I hate that frog with my
yeah.
soul. That frog deserves the rotten hell.
I don't even think I got the poncho because I just got sick and tired of fighting that stupid frog. Like I was like, fuck it, it's not worth it.
And the problem with fighting that frog is that the process to get like the save point is at such an inconvenient spot where you have to go back up and climb this thing and go across this bridge and kill some droids and then jump down. And after a while, you get used to it, but it was annoying to have to keep doing that over and over again just to get back to fight the goddamn frog.
But
Um,
at first you already popped like two of your whatchamacallits by the like two of your fucking health things by the time you even get to the frog. Like
Now I got to the point where I just well, you were on a harder difficulty, but where I just didn't do that. What I started doing is I will go to where the hatch opens up, and then I would double jump off of it so it would open up, and then I would push the droids down there so that they fought it for a little bit before I jumped down and fight it.
that's kind of smart.
Um, yeah, it was annoying, but
I killed the
it
Rancor
was
by
fun.
cheating. I'm not gonna lie.
Did
I
I?
stood right on the ledge and I got the lightsaber throw and I stood right on the ledge of the arena and I just threw
Oh
the
wow.
lightsaber repeatedly until I killed him shipping.
I'm
It took like 5 minutes. Like it took a really long time, but I did it.
I'm trying to remember how I beat the Rancor because I think I fought the Rancor and eventually I was just like I quit, and then I came back later and beat it. Um, but what is
The thing that the Rancor drops, I needed it for the type of build that I wanted to go for, and I was like, I'm not gonna not have it just because you're a difficult enemy. So I'm gonna figure out how to do this with like as cheesy as possible, and I did.
yeah, I think I can't remember. I think it might have been after I got the blaster I came back and killed them. But what is that one enemy called? The the dude that was in Return of the Empire that was in the snow. That giant monster.
Return of the Empire Strikes Back,
Yeah, Empire Strikes Back. The
the Wampa.
The Wampa, yes. One time I had a Wampa fight something. Was it? It wasn't a Rancor. It was some other one of the giant monsters. I was in an area. Oh no, I had the Rancor fight. I think one of the bounty hunters for me. I was fighting about like a bounty hunter showed up on one of the main planet, and there was a Wampa like across the bridge, and I was just like, I could just lure the Wampa over here and they'll fight each other, and I did it, and I just stood back and watched them kill each other, and then jumped in and finished them off. It was great that the game allows you to do stuff like that. This game was really fun. Um, this game was a 148 gigabyte download. Easily,
Yeah, it's huge.
it, I don't play a lot of multiplayer games, so for me, this was easily one of the biggest game I ever downloaded. If you play Call of Duty, I'm sure that's bigger. But yeah, um,
Call of Duty is definitely bigger, but I also deleted Call of Duty because of how big it is. So
yeah, but you see why it's so big once you play it. Um, I played day one. I didn't have many bugs or crashes. Did you?
I played day one. I had an insane amount of bugs.
Oh wow, yeah, I was lucky to not really have any. Was it? This is the opposite luck that we had with Cyberpunk, where Cyberpunk absolutely sucked for me the first time I played it, and for you it was fine.
I mean, it was still glitchy, but I didn't have any game breaking glitches or like crashes, which is just kind of wild.
Yeah. Um, yeah, it's just a big, not completely open, but semi-open world with a lot of details, a lot of characters, like enemies just all over the map. So I understand why it was so big. Um, in the first game, there was like I don't remember what they called it, but it was kind of like a training mode where you could place down enemies in an area to fight. For you to fight or to make them fight each other. And I remember you talking about how they should make this its own game mode where you could like lay them out like chess pieces. And obviously, we weren't the only people who thought that because they literally made that a game, and it was fun. And I need more. They haven't added. There hasn't been any updates or anything, right? Because
I have no clue. I only played it once.
I think they should add more of that, and also make a multiplayer online version of it. That would be really fun. How'd you enjoy that little game mode?
I spent like 2 real world days playing that game mode,
It
like
was fun.
exclusively.
If you well,
Because I was like
actually,
really busy at the time, so I was like, either I play this or I play the actual game. I'm not gonna have time to do both, and I would just play that.
yeah, it was fun. I was gonna say if you play it, but correct me if I'm wrong because I think I might have saw it when I was like on a PlayStation app or something. You've played? Have you started playing like Final Fantasy VII Remake?
I started it. I didn't finish it.
In the DLC intermission, there's a game called Fort Condor. If you ever get to that point, you will become obsessed with Fort Condor. It's just like that. It's like a real time strategy game. Um, and it's so fun. I spent most of my time playing that DLC, playing Fort Condor. What's up with games having games inside the game that are almost more fun, or at least just as fun to play as the game itself?
Did you ever play Mario 64 on the DS?
I no, I've never played Mario 64.
Okay, so they had a little like it was like Luigi's Casino or something, where like there were a bunch of like casino games that you got to play, but like with Mario characters. When I tell you that all I played at a certain point on Mario 64, I went back and beat Mario 64 on there, but like for a long time, I would spend like 8 hours a day as a kid just playing those stupid casino games.
Yeah, enough games with games in them.
Like they were all mini games. They were all dumb mini games, but they're fun. I think a lot of them wanted making it to Mario Party, but like they were so fun.
Yeah, but we're gonna talk about the story and characters. The story follows Cal Kestis as he continues to fight the Empire. After his crew splits up to pursue their own goals, along his journey, he discovers a place hidden from the Empire where him and his crew could live peacefully. But he's not sure if he should leave the fight because the fight is all he knows. Um, the first character I want to talk about is Ravis. Um, because Ravis is interesting. When we first saw him, everybody was like, "It's a Gendai," and I was excited. It was I can't remember Dirge. That's his name. Dirge from the '03 Clone Wars. Kennedy Tartakovsky's Clone Wars. Um, who's this kind of like almost unkillable creature. Um, and to me, Ravis wasn't Gendai enough for my taste. Um, he his boss fight was very disappointing. Do you feel the same?
I do because
Because I felt
Like,
like,
no,
hear
like,
me out. I think that it was because of time. Because I think they actually wanted to do more with Ravis. And I think it's so clear that they wanted to do more with Ravis because where you fight Ravis, this character who is a Gendai that we know, or if you've seen that O3 series, you know Gendai are hard to kill. Um, you you there's a giant laser that evaporates things on that moon base where you fight Ravis. Did you also?
it wouldn't have killed Raven.
I mean, it doesn't matter. The way we killed him.
Because like even in Legends, the only way that Dirge quote unquote died and it still didn't kill him, he's still technically there, was Anakin threw him into a sun. So like he's constantly reforming and
Well, if I'm being honest with you, that's stupid. I think like complete incineration should be able to kill a Gendai. I think I wouldn't mind that being a retcon. Okay, that if he gets incinerated, he's gone. I think the way that we did kill him honestly sucked, even though it was like him allowing
I
himself
also
to die.
does. I thought that was really stupid. But
But I think
no,
it would have.
I love the unkillable threat. Like
Yeah, I like the unkillable threat too, and I think having this giant death ray be the thing, the only way to kill him would have been cool. And I felt like there's no way they didn't actually set that up on purpose because that's what they wanted to do. But I think for whatever reason, probably a time constraint, maybe a budget thing, maybe it just wasn't feasible for them to do that. That's the only reason they didn't do it because it felt like it was set up like that was supposed to be what kills him, right? Didn't it feel that way?
I mean, I was going into lore wise, so I didn't really think he was gonna die at all. But
But also, I felt like he should have been like a Resident Evil boss. Where I know you've been playing Resident Evil 4 as well. I'm not purposely stalking you. It just pops up on my stuff. But I wish he was a Resident Evil boss where he like progressively became more tentacly throughout the game. I feel like you should have fought him several times with breaks in between. Like you fought him. Well, there was a cutscene where you fight him on an elevator. I wish you actually fought him on an elevator, and then you like injure him, and he shows his tentacles, and then he comes back later. You fight him again, and then you fight him a third time, and he's this big giant tentacle monster. That was one. That was the most disappointing thing for me. His like, I think it was his second phase where he starts to become a bit more tentacle like, but even then
yeah,
it wasn't a lot. It was like very minimal. That was what was most disappointing. I felt like they didn't really leverage how weird and creepy Gendai can be. Also, as his story was all right. I feel like him as a character was also all right. Um,
I'm really disappointed because they didn't explore this with Dirge in Legends, which I feel like they really should have. But Gendai are really peaceful. Like they're a really peaceful species. Like they're almost what's the word I'm looking for? Like God,
pacifist,
what is the word I'm looking for?
pacifist.
Uh, yeah, they're almost like entirely pacifist as people. Like as a species, they are so peaceful. And Dirge is like the one exception where he's like the ultra violent, evil bounty hunter assassin person.
Yeah,
But
and Ravis here is like he's a very stereotypical battle junkie looking for honorable death.
yeah,
I just felt like he went down too easy, and his boss battle wasn't as interesting as it could have been. But I feel like it was, I felt like they wanted to do more, but for whatever reason they couldn't. Um, I wish that instead of wanting to die after being a warrior for centuries, that he wanted to settle down maybe, and Tanalorr seems like the best place to do that. Like you said, they're meant to be peaceful people. I feel like they could have went different with this character. Um,
yeah.
but let's move on to another big character, Dagon Gera. A High Republic Jedi in the era of the Empire is a very interesting premise that I
He was so wasted.
I don't think they took it far enough. And I learned, like I said, I'm not as well versed in High Republic as you are, but an idea I had that might not have been able to work based on what I learned recently, but I was hoping that Dagon would give Cal a glimpse into why the Jedi Order fell and needs to change instead of being a basic fell to the dark side villain. I wish that he was played more like a conservative judging the Jedi of today and kind of being unwilling to change. And even though it was obvious that he would be a villain, I think that he should have been on their side for a bit before turning instead of immediately, being a villain. And in the process, as he's working with them, learning about how the galaxy has changed and giving us insight into how it was during the High Republic along the way. Because I feel like they didn't leverage that enough. They didn't actually have him tell us a lot about the High Republic as they should have. I feel like this was the prime opportunity to really bring the High Republic into the public eye. Because only really like super hardcore fans really even give a damn about the High Republic. And after learning what the galaxy has become, his main goal could have been to kind of co-opt the hidden path that Seer had created and use it to recreate what he thinks the Jedi Order should be on Tanalorr. Imagine a world where, he was still staunchly a Jedi while attempting all of this and not, just letting his emotions overwhelm him and him being cold and being more cold and calculated about it all and being fueled by stubbornness to change, which is essentially the ultimate toxic Jedi trait. And it's a big reason why they fell in the first place. And Seer, Cordova, and Cal recognize that where, he doesn't. Even, that's why I personally think they should have took it. But what do you think? What do you think about that? But also, what do you think they should have done?
I feel like he should have just been I feel like his change to go into the dark side didn't make much sense to me because he was like, ah, I'm out of like, I'm out of fucking cryo sleep. And Cal's like, yeah, I'm a Jedi. And he's like, I'm gonna kill you now. And he's like, what?
That
Like
was
that
so
was
weird. Like I said, they should have had him be with them for a little bit.
it was so weird. I felt like he was completely wasted. I was really kind of sad about that.
Yeah, I wish they got more into the High Republic. I wish it would have been cool if, and again, this is another thing, it was already a big game, there was a lot in it. What if we played as both Cal and Dagan, and we got to see a version of, I forget the name of the planet, the main planet that they're on. What if we got to play as him on that planet and on Tanalorr back during the High Republic and actually see more of that world? That would have been interesting.
It would have been cooler than what we got.
Moving on to Bode Acuna. I knew something was up when he was questioning using Tanalorr as a base for the hidden path, and it was all but confirmed after you beat Dagan and Bode. He starts acting real shifty after you two fight Dagan and defeat him. But his betrayal hit because I like him. I liked him. Why'd he do this to me? I honestly I like Bode and his story. I thought he was a very fun uh,
I like Bode as a
antagonist.
character. His betrayal did not catch me off guard. I thought he was shifty since the trailers. I just didn't trust him.
Yeah, I didn't think he was shifty until he kept questioning the use of Tanalorr for the hidden path, and I was like, "What do you mean by that? Like, what's going on?" And then after you beat Dagan, I was like, "Oh, okay, he's gonna betray us," because he was acting so shifty. I was just like, "What is he doing? What's up with Bode right now?" But also another reason his betrayal hit hard is because am I tripping? Or did he himself kill Cordova?
He shot him, yeah.
Yeah, he shot Cordova and then Seer. Well, first off, playing as Seer was dope as hell because
Dude, that made me want like a series of Jedi games that don't follow Cal. Like,
like
because
at the
the
very
fact that like
least a DLC where you play. Ooh, okay, idea. DLC where you play as Dagan back in the day and where you play as Seer back in the day.
I mean, I'd be fine with either one. I just want more because it was so cool seeing like the mechanics of Jedi Fallen Order and Jedi Survivor, but like from the perspective of Seer. So like
She
everything, not
Loki,
everything, but like
she was kind of
a
like
lot of stuff was
OP.
still visually different.
Yeah, no, sorry, go ahead.
I was gonna say a lot of stuff was like visually different, and like it reminded me a little bit in the first High Republic book where they talk about the fact that everybody experiences the Force a little bit differently,
Mm-hmm.
and like you've seen how Cal experiences the Force for two games, and then you were seeing how Seer experiences the Force, and I just want to see that with more Jedi,
Yeah,
and I just want to play as Seer more because Seer is already super cool
yeah, she was
as a character.
borderline. She was borderline like Star Killer.
Dude, she was, I don't care what anybody says, she was beating Vader. The fact that she
Oh,
got killed.
oh my god, dude! I think that might be one of. It's easily my favorite boss fight in this game. It might be one of my favorite boss fights of all time. It
I
was
don't know about of all time
great.
for me, but
I
it was
love
definitely
that
one of
boss
it was
fight.
definitely my favorite in the game.
I love that boss fight. That's going to go down as an all timer for me. I feel like
I was so mad that she died like that though. I'm like, no, because she was
no.
beating
The thing
him.
is, yeah, this thing I like the way she lost because it showed that she could have beat that man, but
She could have killed him. It would have
yeah,
been over right there.
he basically got lucky.
He literally got there's no basic. He literally got
I
lucky.
like that.
That's what makes me so mad
I
because
like
she
that
was
he got
oh
lucky. I like that he got lucky and that he would have lost that fight.
she was kicking his ass.
That fight was
Oh
so
my
good. But also another thing
god, that made me so mad.
I liked the movements of Vader. It was very much he was fighting like a samurai. Like all his movements was like he was using a katana. It was cool as hell. I just like
I felt like Seer was fighting like a she was fighting like a kung fu movie. Like her movements were so relaxed, and like even her dodges, like the little like the clashes that you have, like every time you break out of a clash, and she does like her dodges, they're so relaxed and like
yeah, just
confident. I
yeah.
love it.
Like the choreography and animation on the way they both fought was very good. Like I feel like it's always been that, you know, Vader, he's very minimal and uses as little, movement as possible and, to be very effective. But in this day, I feel like they emphasize his, the samurai inspiration and the way he fights even more than I've ever seen in anything with Vader. Yeah, that's a big part of why I like this fight. Just sometimes I would just get too caught up watching Vader move and die because I'm just like he's cool. I like Vader. He's cool. Um, it's so easy to get through the first two phases, but once you get to the third phase, it starts getting challenging. I kept dying on that third phase. Um,
Yeah, Vader in his third phase was irritating.
it was very entertaining. Also, I'm trying to think. No, never mind. Never mind. I was thinking about something that wasn't Marin. The mission with Marin on Jeddah was the type of set piece that I love in my action adventure video games. Uh, it's why Uncharted is one of my favorite game franchises. That part was so cool. And they're finally an item, Marin and Cal, which is cool. How do you feel about them?
I mean, that was obviously set up in the first
I
game.
would also
Like
like to play as Marin. Also, that would be cool.
that would be cool. That was set up in the first game.
Yeah.
Pretty obviously. It was very interesting. I also read the like literally as the game, like the day that the game came out, I was like finishing the audiobook. There's a book that takes place in between Fallen Order and Survivor. Um, it's not a great book, admittedly, but um, there was a. I'm completely blank on what I was saying. Not a great book, but it was very insightful into leading up the events leading up to the game.
Mm-hmm.
Um, yeah, I completely forgot where I was going with that.
Was it something about Marin?
It was something about Merrin and Cal, like their relationship.
Yeah. Well,
Merrin winds up dating this girl, or like tries to date this girl. Um,
Marin or
and
Cal?
Cal's like talking about like, what'd you say?
You said Marin.
Yeah, Merrin started dating this girl. She's like a former stormtrooper, and Cal's talking about like how he has like weird feelings for Merrin that he doesn't really recognize, and then like Breeze is trying to give him like relationship advice. It's very funny, but they definitely set up the relationship and the romance a lot more in that book. Uh, like it was already obvious it was going to happen in the first game, like they were setting up in the first game, but they set it up a lot more in the book too.
Yeah. Oh yeah, that was a thing I didn't mention. It was just Cal's character arc of like kind of learning a lesson that all Jedi learn eventually about like attachment and how it's not all bad. And you just talk about it in that book. That's basically what he's going through. He's like, I have these feelings for her. I am confused because I'm not supposed to feel these things. It's I've been taught that it's bad, and in this he slowly figures out it's not that bad. You just got to learn how to control it. Um, Let's talk about Tanalor a little bit before we wrap this up. Tanalor has some very interesting story potential. Because what if Cal does amass like a huge force, but some greater threat on the other side of the rift or from like the outer rim keeps them from helping the rebellion. And like that's, the canon, like that's their excuse for why, they didn't actually, the hidden path didn't actually help the rebellion, unless they do somehow in canon they retcon.
Oh no, they're gonna die. There's
I don't know about, you always jump to death. They don't have to die.
okay. So think about it this way, right? There's no explanation as to why Cal would be alive and not active
They're in a
that we
different
would have known
galaxy.
about.
That's the explanation. Different
That's
galaxy.
a stretch.
It's a stretch. We just had
That's a
Ahsoka.
stretch. Yeah, we had Ahsoka, and in Ahsoka, it's like, oh my god, there's only like one way to get to another galaxy. They were literally like redefining technology trying to get
Yeah.
to the next galaxy.
And what's to say that the rift that they use to get to Time Lord doesn't close?
I'd be very surprised if it did.
I wouldn't be surprised if they want to keep him around and actually bring, the actor into live action.
I don't know. I don't see it happening. I guess we'll see in about 5 years.
Yeah. Um. So I'm gonna talk about, what do we expect to see next in this series? I mentioned before how I want a light pike stance. Or like a dual wield cross guard. I feel like would be very interesting. Or like dual wielding different stances, like cross guard and single blade, and like, or like cross guard and blaster, or yes, something like that. And what about a no saber stance? Like just bare fist, God of War style, just punching people and using the force. Like
They should never give me bare fist.
yeah,
I'm never using any other stance
like
ever unless the story absolutely forces me to.
yeah, like Mace Windu in the '03 Clone Wars. Um, or weapons other than a saber, like different blasters would be cool, or like a blunt weapon, or like a shock baton, or like vibro blades, that you can like dual wield with a saber, or stuff like that, or like
Did you ever play Jedi Academy?
no,
Okay, first of all, you should. One of the best Star Wars games ever. Secondly, um, they something similar to Jedi Academy would be interesting since that was the original Jedi series. Um, Something like that would be interesting where you have a couple different lightsaber styles, but then you have like so many blasters.
okay, yeah, different blasters would be great. Before I let you talk about what you want, this is a very random idea, but this is around when Tears of the Kingdom came out that I came up with this idea. It's ridiculous. But what if we got a building mechanic like Ultra Hand from Tears of the Kingdom, except that you lift things using the Force, and BD goes up and welds it together? It's,
So that would be interesting.
it's ridiculous, I know, but it's just an idea that popped in my head that I thought would be interesting. And finally, I recently played the God of War Ragnarok Valhalla DLC, which adds a roguelike mode to the game. And God of War, in a lot of ways, I was comparing it earlier with the way that they do the level design, but also in terms of combat, God of War is extremely similar to Jedi Survivor, because they both take inspiration from Souls likes, and I feel like Survivor could a roguelike mode would actually work really well in Jedi Survivor, because they're very similar in combat. The kind of progression of upgrades is kind of similar as well. I feel like a roguelike mode could work really well in Jedi Survivor. What are your feelings on roguelikes? You played Hades before, I think, and you said you didn't like it or something, or you didn't.
Yeah, I'm
You
not
were
the biggest
interested
fan of Hades, but I love
roguelikes.
roguelikes.
Yeah,
I love them. The only game that I play on my Nintendo Switch is Skull the Hero Slayer, which is my favorite roguelike.
yeah. A roguelike mode I feel like could be interesting. I feel like roguelike has become not just a genre but a mode that like I feel like every game should have. Imagine a roguelike mode in GTA. But yeah, what do you want from the future of the franchise, the next game?
Um, a darker story, that's for sure.
Hmm. How dark? Like
I don't
what are
really
we
have
talking
anything gameplay wase that I really want, but actually, you know what I would like more?
vehicles.
I would like more of an open. I would like vehicles because why do we have barely any vehicles? We have those stupid, weird horse things that I
Yeah.
was so sure my game was glitching because I was like, "There's no way that's an actual. That's no way it's supposed
He
to
was
look
like,
like that."
I'm not supposed to be riding this. What is this thing?
Yeah, no, I'm like, no, this is
Even though
nuts.
it was in like every trailer.
Yeah, it looks so weird. I also didn't see that many trailers going in
Wait, you say
for
you did all
Jedi
the side
Survivor.
quest stuff, right? I'm mad that I had to spoil it for me. The Boba Fett thing.
Oh, I didn't have that spoiled for me. I found that out.
I
I was
had it
really
spoiled
happy.
for me, and then I was so mad. I was so upset. I had that spoiled for me. It was still fun to see though. I wish I would. Ah man, I so wish I would have came across that by myself when I was doing the bounty hunter side quest. I was so upset when I had that spoiled because it was so cool. I wish I fought him. I wanted to fight him. I kept trying to attack him and provoke him because I wanted to fight Boba Fett.
I feel like Cal would definitely lose. Boba Fett would definitely kill Cal.
I mean, he wouldn't have to like kill him. He could just like let him go and be like, this is your warning. Stop. I mean, but also Cal is also unnecessarily powerful because he's a video game character, obviously. But he like knows almost every form of lightsaber fighting, and he has
Most Jedi know almost every form of lightsaber fighting, though.
yeah, but they're all dead. So so he's
Well,
one of the most like skilled Jedi using lightsabers alive. But yeah, is that all in terms of things you want?
yeah, that's pretty much it.